Hey guys, Captain Dylan Hubbard here at Hubbard's Marina, and welcome to the Sunday Night Live Stream Show. Thanks for tuning in and hanging out with us, y'all. It's time for the Sunday Night Live Stream Show, Off the Hook with Captain Hubbard. Appreciate you tuning in and hanging out with us. It is time to give away some free fishing trips, $1,500 in free trips. Answer your questions live, talk about what's going on, what's coming up, and more. Show you photos of what we've been catching, dive deep into the weather, and hang out with you guys for an hour straight live on YouTube, on Facebook, Instagram, Trovo, and Twitch. Just simply search Hubbard's Marina. You can find us every Sunday night at 7:30 p.m. Hopefully you guys are ready for a great show and a good time. We got lots to talk about and go over tonight, and hopefully you're excited as I am. Now, first things first, we always like to get started by reminding you guys, make sure you like the video. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you give the video a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. If you're watching on Facebook, don't forget to like the video. Make sure you tag your friends, comment where you're watching from, share the video as well. If you're watching on Instagram, don't forget to give it a like and a comment. Same thing on Trovo and Twitch. It helps us to reach more people, get more of your friends in here, and the more friends you have watching, the more chances you have to win. So make sure you tell your friends to tune in and join us every Sunday night at 7:30 p.m. Also, don't forget as well, we want to give a shout out to our friends over there at Gator Jim's Tackle, 3301 Pinellas Point Drive in South and St. Pete. Gator Jim's Tackle is our title sponsor of our Sunday Night Live Stream show. We appreciate all they do to keep us going and keep things rolling for the Sunday Night Live Stream show. Also want to make sure we tell you guys how to win free fishing trips. We give away $1,500 in free trips every Sunday night. And remember, in order to win free trips, for now, we are doing that on Facebook only, on the Hubbard's Marina Facebook page. So you have to comment one time on the Hubbard's Marina Facebook page. That enters you for a chance to win. Then randomly throughout the show, we're going to do those giveaways, and you've got 5 minutes or less. If you see your name appear on the screen, I'll announce your name. You got 5 minutes or less to text us your full home address. But remember, August 3rd, not today, not next week, the week after, August 3rd, we're going to transfer over to doing YouTube. So you'd have to comment on YouTube. And you can watch on Facebook, you can watch on Instagram, Trovo, Twitch, but you'll have to comment on YouTube to enter. But for tonight, it's Facebook, Hubbard's Marina Facebook page. You have to comment one time. That enters you for a chance to win. All right, with that, we're going to get rolling here, and as always, we like to start off the show by showing you photos of what we've been catching. Then we get into the weather, some announcements, and then your questions. If you have a question you want answered live during the show, you can text your question to the phone number at the bottom of the screen. A lot of comments happen through a lot of different streaming platforms, so we don't always get to see your comments. So if you want a question answered live during the show, make sure you text us your questions to the phone number at the bottom of the screen. With that, let's get rolling into some of these photos and show you. Oh, before we get rolling into the photos, we want to make sure we give a shout out to those who are sending stars on Facebook. Always appreciate the stars, helps to fuel the show. We had Stephen Batchelor with the big 500 stars, Todd Stutzman, William Mitrovic. We had Scott Flynn, Mick Higgins with a big 500. Appreciate you, buddy. Tyler Maloof, Richard Blazak, William Mitrovic, again, John Bull, Jacob Maloof, and LaShonda Brown with the big 500. Thank you, LaShonda. Glad you had fun on the extreme trip today. All right, with that, also want to make sure we give a shout out to our supporters in our supporters group. Appreciate you guys being a part of our supporters family. Remember, it's only $4.99 a month. You get access to our private Facebook group, more behind-the-scenes communication, and then whether you're a supporter on YouTube or on Instagram, you get access to our private after show every week, in which after the main show, we dive into things a little bit more intimately with less people watching and answer your questions a little bit more one-on-one. So appreciate all of those in our supporters group. With that, let's get rolling into these photos and show you what we've been catching inshore. Inshore lately, we've been seeing a lot of these snook. The snook bite has been going well for us. Definitely a good time to get out there and catch some of these snook. We're seeing some of the mangrove snapper around the docks, piers, bridges, jetties. The trout bite was really good to us. We're seeing definitely some good trout action around the docks, piers, bridges, jetties at night, especially with the new moon this week. It should really heat up for us. Redfish action has been solid around the flats, mangrove shorelines, oyster bars. We're seeing some of the redfish out on the beaches as well, but most of the redfish up in the bay, while most of the snook are around the pass and beaches. A lot of sharks. Anywhere you go virtually, we're seeing quite a few sharks. And the snook around the docks. We've been seeing some snook around Hubbard's docks, biting well on the dead baits on the bottom. Some nice big snook for sure. And lots to be caught inshore. And it's been pretty productive, to say the least. You got to mind the tides, find that moving water. A little bit of a weaker tide right now, but it's picking up as we approach that new moon coming up here later this week. Some solid fish for sure all the way around. Plenty to catch. Snook, redfish, trout, and the mangroves have been huge. We had one mangrove snapper caught off the dock this week that was a little more than 15 inches. Beast inshore mangrove snapper. Pretty cool to see. Now we've shown you the photos of what we've been catching inshore. Let's work our way a little bit further near shore and offshore and show you guys what's been happening a little bit deeper. Captain Seabass took his daughters out fishing and they put on a show, catching plenty of those good eating gray snapper on our 5-hour half-day trip and having a good time doing it. Definitely a good time fishing with their dad, Captain Seabass, and putting on a clinic catching those gray snapper on the half-day trip. The 12-hour night crushed it the other night. Not this past Friday was a little bit tougher. We had a strong current, which made things a little bit tricky, but they got some good fish. The 12-hour night trip week before last had some really crazy numbers of mangrove snapper. Didn't have to deal with the current. Ended up catching some nice muttons. We have been seeing quite a few muttons lately for sure. Some nice keeper red grouper on our 10-hour all day, We're seeing a variety of fish out there on the 39-hour trips. Some big red groupers, some big catch and release gag groupers, some solid red snapper, the occasional pelagic too. This was a mahi-mahi on a nearshore private fishing charter. Big piles of fish from our 39-hour adventures, some big porgies. This was over 22-pound red grouper. I think it was 22.5. This is one of the bartenders from the Friendly Fisherman, Katie. She can put on a clinic out there offshore, and she definitely showed the guys how to do it. Here's a big fat red grouper from a 10-hour all day. We are seeing some of these nice red grouper occasionally on the 10-hour all day. Our buddy Nick Nieves with a solid red grouper here on his birthday trip. There's another photo of Katie in that 22.5-pound red grouper. A horse for sure. Some nice fish on the 39-hour trip. 12-hour extreme has been doing real well out there. Some big red snapper averaging the jackpot winners have been 22 to 25 pounds lately. Some really big red snapper coming up. The trip that came in this morning had quite a few fish over 20 pounds. Pretty cool to see. Some nice scamp in the mix. Plenty of other heads and tails as well. As you can see, fishing is going well. We're catching quite a few fish, or quite a variety of fish, and numbers of people are going down. June is always super crazy busy. July is pretty busy. August, we're having some of these trips coming up in August. These 39-hour trips, there's 20, 25, 30 people going. So some really light load opportunities if you want to get out there on the boat. In August, lots of good opportunities on the 39-hour trips, the 12-hour extreme trips. This Tuesday's 12-hour extreme trip, I believe, only has about 8 people on it, so it's only about 50% full. So we have some good light load opportunities on these long-range fishing trips. And remember, red snapper season is still open all the way till end of day, September 15th. So we still got about 2 months left of these red snapper. So plenty of opportunities to get out there and catch them if you want to join us for a 39-hour, a 12-hour extreme, whatever it is. The 12-hour today had scamp. They had mutton snapper. They had a blackfin tuna. Lots of big American red snapper, boat limit again. So been doing well. Current picked up a little bit here over the weekend. We expected that kind of around a new moon. That's pretty typical. So we got a little bit of a stronger current out there, but it's going to be calming down for us, hopefully right on the backside of the new moon. Hopefully this upcoming weekend, we should see that current relax again for us. Hopefully it won't be long term like it was around June. We had a few more stars come in. Jason Richmond, Steven Vanderloop, and a big 1,200 stars from our buddy Nick Nieves. Appreciate you, buddy. All right, so we showed you photos of what we've been catching. Let's talk about the weather a little bit and talk about what's going on weather-wise. We're going to hop on over to hubbardsmarina.com, click fishing trips, and then we're going to click the weather links page. We're going to start in our wind finder forecast, the 5 and 10 hour area. And as you can tell, we've got a pretty nice week ahead. It's going to pick up a little bit around midweek and last until early weekend. Looks really nice tomorrow. Tuesday, rain chances come up a little bit, but not terribly. Tuesday's looking pretty good. Wednesday, rain comes up and so does the wind. So Wednesday starts to get a little bit more moderate, and then Thursday and Friday don't look too good. Definitely a little bit more sloppy Thursday and Friday. Calms down pretty quickly into the weekend. Looking pretty nice this upcoming weekend. That's our inshore report. Let's work our way a little deeper here, and let's see what the 39-hour report says, the 39-hour area. Pretty similar. Tomorrow is gorgeous. Really looking good Tuesday. Wednesday it starts to pick up moderately, and then Thursday and Friday not looking so hot. Starts to calm down Saturday, and then Sunday is looking pretty good. So pretty much the same. It looks like the best weather is Monday, followed by Tuesday. Wednesday's okay. Thursday, Friday, and maybe into Saturday is a little bit more moderate and nautical, and then it calms down into the weekend. So that's kind of what we're looking at this week. You want to get out there and try to make a trip. You want to shoot for early part of the work week into mid-work week, or wait until later weekend. Seems like maybe Thursday through Saturday seems like the bulk of that potential weather. And that has a lot to do, ironically, with that Invest 93. Moving back to our weather links page, we're going to go to spaghettimodels.com, the ultimate storm forecast website page, our buddy Mike Boylan. Ironically, that big weather event that kind of moved through our area last week moved across our area and up into Louisiana, and now it's coming back. So it passed over us, moving from east to west, and moved up into the central part of the country, and it's coming right back again, pretty ironically. So we have to deal with that. Let's see, switch this over. So today is Monday. Monday's looking pretty good. Tuesday starts to pick up cloud cover, nothing crazy. This is Wednesday when those rains start to build in over our state. And Wednesday's looking okay, but definitely a little bit rainy to our southeast. Thursday, you start to see the weather build in the Gulf. And through the day Thursday, getting a little bit of spinach going on. Friday, some more weather in the Gulf. So that's kind of what's going on. Something's trying to hang out in the Gulf, and then it kind of dissipates Saturday. High pressure comes down and starts to cool things off and calm things down and clears out our area for the weekend. So pretty much correlates to what we saw on Wind Finder, and Got a little spot to watch down here next week. Potentially might come up into the Gulf, but it doesn't show anything right now. But you can kind of see that little spot over the Dominican next week. So we'll have to watch that one as it comes up into the Gulf. You can see it spinning down there in the corner. But that's early, long way off. Anything more than about 10 days is not something for us to worry about yet, but something to keep an eye on for sure. All right. So we talked about the weather. We showed you photos. Announcements-wise, we've got an event Tuesday. You want to come hang out with myself and Capt. Mike Anderson. We're going to be at OCC Roadhouse Tuesday, and hopefully you can join us. We're going to be giving away Bull Bay rods, Engel cooler. We've got real animals and Hubbard's Marina swag. It's going to be a good time. That's this Tuesday, July 22nd, from 7 to 9 p.m. at OCC Roadhouse. That is on 49th Street, just south of Ulmerton. It's a really cool location. They've got incredible food. They've got great drinks, and we're going to have Captain Glenn Taylor joining us, who is a really, really good fisherman. He runs a 6-pack charter out of O'Neill's Marina, and he specializes in some unique styles of fishing. Some of that shallow, or some of that lighter tackle, jig head fishing, free lining, chumming. He does a lot of pelagic fishing for flatlining, for kingfish, tuna. He's a really, really, really great fisherman. Been doing it a really long time. I look forward to chatting and hanging out with him. And hopefully you can come join too. Again, that's Tuesday night, July 22nd, 7 to 9 p.m. So hopefully we'll see you there. With that, the other updates, again, light loads coming up for red snapper. If you want to get out there on the water, August is looking like a really good time to do it. September gets really busy because we have that short gag season, September 1st through September 14th. Red snapper season is June 1st all the way through end of day September 15th. We've got triggerfish open all year except for January, February, June, and July. So triggerfish will reopen August 1st. Looking forward to that. Amberjack is the only other fish with the season. They are supposed to be open September and October. Haven't heard any news yet, but we expect to hear something very shortly because there was apparently a 250% overage last year. So if that's true, we shouldn't have an amberjack season this year, but no news yet, which is ironic and kind of weird. So hopefully we'll hear soon. We've got Capt. Mike Anderson on the line. What's going on, Capt. Mike? How are you, buddy?
I'm good, my brother. How are you?
Doing well, man. Doing well. Getting my feet back under me after a long week. It's been a wild ride, man.
Yeah, you had a interesting week for sure, but hopefully the downtime with the family was good.
Yeah. After ICAST Friday, went over and hung out with the family. They were over in Orlando, and made it back late Wednesday to be at work today, and got caught back up. So ready to start the week off right tomorrow, and looking forward to OCC Roadhouse. We were just talking about that before you called, and looking forward to Tuesday night.
Too. Yeah, me too. That'll be a fun one. Glenn Taylor's he's a great speaker. I've had him before as a guest. He does a really good job, answers a lot of questions, gets in depth, and should be a good one. Look forward to it. I love that place.
Yeah, it's always fun hanging out with you and the crew, and Mahoney said he's going as well, so that'll be fun.
Oh, yeah.
And
yep.
Give him someone else to heckle instead of me.
Right. No doubt. I understood. That's why I like it, because when we're together, he heckles you instead of me. That's perfect.
You just keep bringing people, so Mahoney, take the flack from Mahoney. I see how it is.
Exactly. Try to take the target off your own back and put it on your buddy.
There's
no
awesome.
doubt.
Well, how's the fishing been going?
You know what? I was with you, for the week, and I cast there, and then I haven't got on the water over the weekend, but talked to some of the guys, and they said the bite's pretty good, actually. Redfish, snook, and trout still are the key bites. The snook bite a little better than the redfish bite, but they're still catching,
nice.
4 or 5 redfish a trip. Yeah, and lots, 15 to 20 snook, and the trout bite, which Normally in the summer it
Slows
gets a
down.
little tougher. Yeah, but it's been really consistent and really good. I'm a little nervous. This is the time of year that I get to, once maybe I try to attack the snook bite first thing in the morning when it's cool, the sun's not quite up yet, and then I try to shift gears to mackerel, trout, something like that. And I'm not getting great reports on the mackerel bite, but I've got some trips coming up, and we're going to kind of start to attack that and see if I can figure out what's going on. Might just be that some of the guys I talked to didn't target them. So, we'll know more once I get back on the water here. But the bait's been good. The bite's been good. So, I'm encouraged. I'm excited to get back out there. Being in my 25th year, ICAST is great because we get to see a lot of the new products. We get to talk to a lot of people we don't talk to all year. And probably the best thing about it for me is it gives me a week off the water, recharges the batteries a little bit. Things are hot, but I get excited after a week off the water to get back out there, find out what's going on, and, try to figure out how to attack things. So, we had a pretty strong summer last summer for the bite. So I'm looking forward to the same thing. Snapper bite usually picks up now. We're under the second half of July here. So, I'm pretty excited to get back out there and go to work.
One of the guys at the dock caught a 15-inch mangrove snapper, a little more than 15-inch mangrove snapper from the dock, free line in a
Nice.
cut
That's
thread
nice.
feed. Yeah, pretty wild, man. Some
and it's
big
a
fatties.
little early for the big fatties to be here, so that's a good sign. I mean, the biggest I've ever caught in the bay, I caught a 22-inch mangrove snapper inside the Skyway.
That's crazy.
I almost couldn't land it. I fell to my knees laughing in the boat when he came up. I thought, you have got to be kidding me. Like, I've just, inshore, that's the biggest fish in 25 years, biggest mango I've ever seen. So
that's awesome.
And I've never seen one close. We caught a couple that were 19 that day as well. So, it happens. And this has, been a really strong spring for mangrove snapper, even close. So I'm hoping that the inshore bite really fires off here in the next 5-6 weeks. Should be pretty good.
Yeah, that 12-hour night snapper doesn't fish super deep. They're only about maybe 25 to 35 miles. They're fishing 110, 120 foot, maybe a little bit more sometimes. But I mean, they've been catching consistently mangrove snapper 7 to 9 pounds. It's been pretty wild.
Wow.
Yeah. So shallow water, and even this last 39-hour trip, we were only in about maybe 130 to 160, and they were catching some horse red snapper and mangrove snapper. So really cool to see the bite going so well, even in pretty shallow water. So it will be interesting, like you said, as we kind of reach that peak time, August, and even into September, we see just so many bountiful numbers of mangrove snapper. And it's that exciting time of year offshore where we see this huge influx in mangrove snapper. A lot of those fish really start to do their batch spawns. We see some of those Kubera snapper move through our area a little bit more prolifically. So maybe we see one of those big dogs get hooked up too.
That would be cool. That would be very cool. I've got some Kuberas now finally on my catch list, caught list. But I've never caught one here. That was in Costa Rica. Yeah, it took me a while to get it. That's for sure. It was my white elephant for years. I'm glad that I finally caught a few, so the wife would leave me alone about it. But that would be a very cool. That would be a very cool catch here.
You know what you should do is do one of those cool shows you do. I mean, if you guys didn't know, he's been doing a TV show for like 20 some odd years. But those real animal shows, man, you should do one of those in Southeast Florida because I think it's Ponce. I don't know exactly where. It's somewhere south of Jupiter where they get the Kubera on the beach with super light tackle. There's even one guy that does it on fly at the mouth of that river. Yeah. I don't know exactly where it is. Somewhere on the East Coast. I'm pretty sure it's Southeast Coast. I mean, Donald Trump Jr. was down there fishing. He caught us I think it was like a 6-7 pound schoolmaster on the beach while he was snook fishing. Yeah. So we got to talk about that. Get you on those near shore snapper trips. That'd be pretty cool. I think it's a cooler time of year thing, like January, February, I believe.
I'm in. make snapper fishing great again. I'm in. I love it.
It'll be a good time for sure.
Yeah, that sounds really cool.
That's the coolest part about Florida is there's so many different things to do not far away, just a couple hours away. It's a totally different world, and it's so cool to move around the state and do so many great styles of fishing.
You say that, and I've actually got I'm going to start filming for season 20 of Real Animals TV in the middle of August.
Told you.
Yeah, long time. But I've got an invite. I got an invite to go down to Hawks Cay.
Love that place.
Yeah, and fish with Reed Tudor, who is Rich Tudor's son from Saltwater Experience.
That's cool.
And we're going to take the KO, the 18 KO down there. And he was telling me that, because I thought, man, you want me to come down there in August? Huh? I'm like, well, what are we going to target? And he was like, tailing redfish and 15-pound tarpon.
Oh,
I'm like,
that sounds
I
fun.
almost packed. The minute he said it, I almost just started packing. I'm like, I am so in. That sounds amazing.
And just Hawks Cay, it's just such a beautiful place.
There's that. When he said, hey, we got room for you at Hawks Cay, I was like, oh shucks.
That's Duck Key, right?
Yes, I believe so. Yep. Yeah. I haven't been there in probably. The late great Billy Nobles and I were down there probably year 1 or 2. So 20 years since I've been there, but it was an amazing place. Amazing place.
Yeah, I love it down there. I was just down there with the family for an FWC commission meeting. The FWC commission said they were going to Hawks Cay for a meeting, and I was like, I'll be there.
Yeah, right.
And we stayed a few extra days, and I was walking around the Saltwater Experience boats, but we went down just a few slips down, went out with someone yellowtailing on the reef. It's just such a unique fishery down there, so different than we have here, but...
It really is, no doubt.
It's fun to visit, but it's always good to come home. I love our fishery here.
The Keys are a unique place, and you're right. It's some place that I like to visit. I tell people all the time, because I don't go there every year. Like season 19, I didn't make a trip to the Keys, and I try to mix. Obviously, with doing it for 20 years, you try to mix up your locations the best you can. Obviously, I have some partners, Discover Crystal River and, South Seas and, now visit St. Pete Clearwater. So you have destinations that are always on the schedule, always places, and I'm blessed. Those are all great. But every single time I make the drive to the Keys, when I'm making that long run into Key Largo, it's so beautiful. Every single time I do it, I go, how are you not here 2 or 3 times a season?
Yeah.
Because it's such a really beautiful and unique place, So,
it is cool.
I'm excited to start out season 20 down there, and it should be pretty epic.
Hawks Cay gym doesn't open until like 9 a.m. in the morning, and they close at like 4. So, star. 10 out of 10. Don't recommend.
I'll just go fishing.
I was pretty upset.
Go fishing. Yeah, I'll work out on Sunday and then again on Friday.
All right. Yeah, take it easy. All right, buddy. We appreciate you.
All good. I'll see you Tuesday night.
Looking forward to it, my friend. We'll see you Tuesday night, 7 p.m. at OCC Roadhouse with Captain Glenn Taylor. Got lots of cool stuff to give away. It's going to be a good time.
Absolutely. Can't wait to see you, brother. Be good.
See you, man.
Bye.
Always a pleasure to hear from our buddy, Cap Mike. Talk a little fishing about inshore and around the area. Now, we covered our announcements, we covered weather, we covered photos. It is time to get into your questions. So if you have questions you want answered live during the show, text us your question to the phone number on the screen. And now it's time to get into our giveaways as well. Before we get into the questions, we're going to do our first giveaway of the night. Let's go ahead and do our 5-hour half-day trip. 1 lucky winner, 2 guests, 5-hour half-day trip. Remember, if you're picked as one of the lucky winners, you got 5 minutes or less to text us your full home address to claim your free trip. All right. Lucky winner of the 5-hour half-day trip. 1 winner, 2 guests goes to Joe, oh man, that's a tough one, buddy. Joe Kaprinsky. I'm going to go with that. Mispronounced it, I'm sure of it, but hopefully you can see your own name. You've got 5 minutes or less to text us your full home address, and we'll get you out that gift certificate for a 5-hour half-day trip. For one lucky winner, 2 guests. We still got a 10-hour all-day trip for one lucky winner, 2 guests, and a 39-hour trip to give away as well. So don't go anywhere. Sit back, relax, and enjoy. With that, we're going to get into questions and see what you guys want to talk about. So if you have a question, you have a topic, you have something you want discussed during the show, text it to the phone number on the screen. All right, let's see what we got. First question of the night. Do comment and watching on Facebook or YouTube qualify for the drawings? Remember, you can watch anywhere. You can watch on Instagram. You can watch on Trovo, Twitch, YouTube. Right now, and as always, we are only giving away free trips to people who have commented on the Hubbard's Marina Facebook stream. August 3rd is the first day we're going to switch over to YouTube. And the reason we're making that switch is because Facebook has been unreliable. 2 times in the last 6 weeks, the show on Facebook just crashes. So we want to try to encourage people to watch on YouTube, where it's been much more reliable for us, and it hasn't crashed. And because of that, that's why August 3rd, not this week, not next week, August 3rd, we're going to be doing giveaways to people who comment on YouTube. Plus, you don't need a profile to comment on YouTube. Anybody can watch. And it makes it a little bit more easy for our YouTube channel to become more visible. And we're really working hard over there. We've got 175,000 followers on Facebook. We're only at about 18,000 subscribers on YouTube. So we're trying to grow our YouTube. We're not leaving Facebook. We're not leaving Instagram. We're still going to be streaming everywhere, just like right now. Right now, we're streaming to YouTube, to Trovo, to Instagram, to Twitch, to Facebook. But we just encourage you to comment on Facebook in order to win free trips. The only thing that's going to change is we're going to encourage you to comment on YouTube. We'll still be streaming to all the same platforms, so you can still watch on Facebook. You can still send stars on Facebook. Just got to comment once on YouTube. That's it. That's all. We're not leaving Facebook, don't worry. How far offshore does a 12-hour night trip usually fish? Remember, our website really dives deep into all our different trips. If you go to our website page, Josh is doing it, so I'll just show you. If you go to our website page and you click fishing trips, click trips, scroll down to the 12-hour night trip, right on the right side, it's going to give you a breakdown of all the helpful information. So we're fishing about 60 to 120 foot. We should probably adjust that. Most of the time it's 100 to 120 foot. But sometimes we do fish a little shallower depending on the time of year. So I guess that's why I made it so general. Distance is 25 to 35 miles from Johns Pass. And those are Friday nights, 7 p.m. It's a lot of fun. And we definitely have been catching some really nice mangrove snapper out there. It dives into recommended tackle. It talks about bait options, additional info, and just so much more on the website page. So there is a ton of information here. Plus, we have lots more information on our assorted pages, and our YouTube channel has videos about the 12-hour night snapper trip as well. But generally, we're fishing about 25 to 35 miles in about 100 to 120, 25 foot generally. Been doing well, and we have been fishing deeper more consistently for sure. What was your favorite new product from iCast? I'm a little biased. My favorite new product from iCast was the one we worked on with our friends at Angler Co. If you go to our website, hubbardsmarina.com, we can show you our new and improved online store. If you go to hubbardsmarina.com, click shop, and right on our shop, you can look at all the different cool stuff we have. But let's see here, tools, tackle and tools should be right here. So Angler Co. makes a couple different products, but This is the one that I love, our classic D-hooker. And we don't have a photo of the back of the package on the shop, but our logo's on the back of the package because we worked with them to help develop this D-hooker. It's bigger, stronger, smoother, and it holds up forever. So really, really cool. We also have the other style of D-hooker, the older style as well, in our shop for, I think it's like $40 or $45. So you can get the nice new fancy model with the higher, beefier, stronger internal parts, or you can get the older model as well, which we have in the 13-inch variety as well. This one's at 8.5. So lots of options for you at Hubbard's Marina and on our online store. Is it true no braided line? No, you can bring braided line. We just ask that you use a monofilament top shot. So got to use a monofilament top shot if you're fishing braid. If you don't have a monofilament top shot, we'll help you out. But you got to have mono top shot. And the reason why is braided line doesn't have any shock absorption. So just like you wouldn't drive your truck down the road without shock absorbers, right? You want shock absorbers on your vehicle so you have a nice smooth ride down the road. And if you hit a pothole, it doesn't break your teeth, right? The same thing, the top shot does the same thing. When you hook a fish, especially fishing straight up and down in deeper water, that snapper specifically is going to really shake his head violently. And if you have straight braid, he's going to be able to open a hole in the side of the mouth and he spits your hook. When braided line first came out and I first switched over to it, I would hook fish. I'd be able to feel everything. I'd hook a fish. You get started cranking off the bottom, and 5, 10, 15 cranks off the bottom, he would just come unhooked. It was so frustrating until I finally figured out what was going on, and I would get a fish to the surface, and by the time it got to the surface, I'd swing it into the boat, and it would hit the deck and come unhooked. I didn't even have to touch the fish because the hooks were just barely hanging on because it had this huge hole in the side of its mouth. You add a top shot, no more hole. It's a little shock absorber in the line. Plus, you shouldn't be using braided line unless you're a really experienced angler, because it's much more difficult, much more technical, and you have to do that line-to-line knot, and it's a little bit more challenging too. So using braided line just adds a layer of difficulty that you don't need to do unless you're really a super experienced angler and you're using it for a specific reason. But if you are a super experienced angler and you are using braided line with a top shot, the benefit of the top shot not only is the shock absorber, but you should be able to tell when someone else's line touches yours. And it's really easy once you get the hang of it and the feel for it. So when you feel someone else's line touch yours, you start cranking. You don't, I mean, obviously if someone line touches yours and your rod's bending over, that means you're already tangled. But if you feel just line touching you, you crank until you feel weight. And the idea is you want to try to retrieve your tackle to the point where your braided line isn't going to be in that tangle. It's going to be your monofilament. So that way when the tangle does occur, you're tangled up mono to mono and you can untangle it. If your braided line gets tangled up, the only thing you can do is cut it. And that gets really annoying and really frustrating. So if you're using braid, you got to be good and you got to be paying attention and you got to be actively fishing. So if you do feel that tangle coming, you're able to retrieve it and make sure it's mono to mono. Also, someone asked about hogfish. Hogfish bite best in cooler months. October-ish, they'll start to pick up, and we'll catch them really well until like April, May-ish. Cooler months is where hogfish concentrate, and we catch them better on our 5 and 10-hour trips. Really, our 10-hour trips dial in on them. Warmer months, 10-hour trips are fishing a little deeper, targeting the lane snapper, finding a few mangroves, and a couple of those red grouper too. What is the limit on snook and how big do they have to be? So snook are out of season right now. But if you go to our website, hubbardsmarina.com, click fishing trips, fishing trip information, and then click fishing rules and regs, it'll bring you to our fishing rules and regs website page. And that'll take you over to fish rules, and you can just simply make sure you're in the right location, upper right hand corner. And we're going to, snook regulations are like crazy specific to the area. So you want to make sure you're definitely looking in the right spot. But they're out of season right now. So snook are closed. What is the season? So closed until, let's see here, August 31st. So they'll open September 1st until the end of November. And when they are open, they got to be 28 to 33 inches. So only about a 5-inch slot, and you're only allowed one per person. So super small slot, and it's kind of hard to get them in the slot. And again, you're only allowed one. So September through November. 2 months, basically. No, 3 months. Why are the rules in the Gulf different from Florida? Compared to Alabama? They aren't that different. The only rule in the Gulf that would be different in Florida compared to Alabama, actually, no, I can't say the only. The only common rule that most people would be familiar with is the private recreational red snapper season. Private recreational red snapper season is different in each state. Our season is a federal for-hire season, which is the same across the entire Gulf, June 1st through end of day, September 15th. There are some kind of minutia rules that are a little different, like the state of Florida put a regulation on blackfin tuna, African pompano, flounder. Those are state regulations they've extended into federal waters. But as far as Alabama versus Florida, you shouldn't be that different other than that one specific thing. So Alabama shouldn't have. I would be interested to see what you were asking about specifically. Let's see. I would just let it load, Josh. It takes a while sometimes. Swell is giving us a little bit of a problem loading your questions, but let's go ahead and do another giveaway. That's a good idea, Josh. We did a 5-hour half-day trip for one lucky winner. Let's see who won our 10-hour all-day trip. 10-hour all-day trip, one lucky winner, 2 guests on the 10-hour all-day trip. And big shout out to Richard Harcourt sending us a super chat on YouTube. Also, we had Andy Moore send some stars on Facebook. William Mitrovic sent some stars. Andy Moore, Carolyn Roberts, E.J. Jefferson, and David Coleman as well. Appreciate all the stars on Facebook. And Richard Harcourt, your super chat on YouTube as well. All right, lucky winner of the 10-hour all-day trip. One lucky winner, 2 guests goes to... Hit the wrong button. Jim Demmel from Pennsylvania. Got yourself a 10-hour all-day trip, my brother. Congratulations. Man, just won't load questions for us tonight, huh? At least the stream's going okay. So we did have red snapper is June 1st through end of day September 15th. What's going on with swell? That's weird. I can't even pull it up on my side either, Josh. What about on YouTube? Any comments over there? Missing it down in Florida, for sure. YouTube is better. A lot of people saying YouTube is better, for sure. YouTube is definitely somewhere where we need to grow, right? Facebook, like I mentioned, we're already at 100 and almost 80,000 followers. Instagram, we're at like 30,000. TikTok, we're only at about 10,000. YouTube, we're at about 18,000. So I want to grow some of these other social media channels like we've been blessed to grow our YouTube, our Facebook channel as well, for sure. Let's see here. Since we can't pull up questions, we'll talk a little bit about the red snapper lately has definitely been crazy on the dead bait, but we've seen a little bit of a switch to some of those live pinfish as well. The live pinfish bite's been working well for some of those red snapper, and then also we've been seeing some of those mutton snapper coming up on those like medium-sized live pinfish as well. Definitely cool to see some of those pinfish picking back up now that water temperatures are getting right. Steve Vanderloop, appreciate those stars. Sorry for missing your name earlier, my friend. They got sandwiched in the middle. I don't know how I missed that one, so I apologize. Also, we've been seeing the bonita, the northern mackerel, the goggle eyes still staying pretty strong as well. Pretty strong bite for the scamp. I like a small to medium pinfish, a little bit smaller hook, like a 6/0 hook, maybe 60-pound test, and one of those medium pinfish is a real good idea for the scamp. But a lot of times I catch scamp when I'm fishing for those mangrove snapper. The mangrove snapper, just the cut thread fin double snell rig, trying to focus on those mangrove snapper, and a lot of times you'll see the mutton snapper and the scamp grouper, and even some of the times the red grouper and red snapper will come up too. So I like focusing on the mangroves and then having fun with what else might bite. Someone asked, Carrie asked, why no 39-hour trip today? We had a private charter scheduled, and unfortunately they canceled on us last minute. So no 39-hour trip today because we got very limited notice on that charter cancellation, so we were unable to build back in a public trip. So no 39-hour trip today. Frustrating. What are the benefits of a 2-speed reel versus a single speed reel? A 2-speed reel is like 2 reels in one. If you got a low gear ratio and a high gear ratio in that 2-speed reel, it gives you that benefit of being able to switch gears. Now, it is really tricky to learn how to do while you're fishing, but it works really well because that high gear ratio helps you to hook the fish. The low gear ratio gives you the power to retrieve the fish. Remember, the higher the gear ratio, the quicker the retrieve, the more speed you have. The lower the gear ratio, the more power and torque you have, but the lower the speed. So being in low gear on your 2-speed reel gives you power and torque to catch a big fish or pull a big grouper off the bottom, whereas the high-speed gear ratio or high-speed setting on your 2-speed reel retrieves a lot of line and helps you catch those smaller, quick-biting snapper more easily in deeper water. So having a 2-speed reel is like 2 reels in one, whereas a single-speed reel, you're kind of stuck with the gear ratio of the reel. And a higher gear ratio, like a 5-to-1, 6-to-1, works really well for mangrove snapper, but it doesn't have the power to retrieve a big red snapper or gag grouper up off the bottom because it's too high of a gear ratio. That's also why spinning reels don't work for bottom fishing, because spinning reels are always super high gear ratio. Plus, the way you hold a spinning reel, you're fighting that fish with one arm, not your whole body. Because when you hold a conventional reel, you got the butt of the rod underneath your right arm, your left hand out in front of the reel, so you're fighting that fish with your entire upper body. So you have more physical leverage over that fish with a conventional reel. That's why conventional reels are superior for bottom fishing with dead bait or live bait. What is the best way to increase my odds of getting a tuna on a 12-hour extreme trip? Go out a lot. Tuna, blackfin tuna are one of those things we see from time to time. I would say you probably have a little bit better chance on a 39-hour trip because blackfin tuna a lot of times will swim up the chum line. So on the 12-hour extreme, we're sticking and moving. We're moving spot to spot to spot quite a bit. You might be able to do a little bit of trolling at times if you talk to the captains. You might catch one trolling, but also you catch them flatlining or just reeling up or retrieving dead live bait or dead bait. But we don't fish spots very long, whereas on a 39-hour trip, if we get on a really hot bite, we might stay at a spot 30, 45 minutes, 60 minutes. I mean, one time my dad fished a spot on a 39-hour trip for like 7 hours. So when you fish a spot for a really long time, you develop a chum line, and then pelagic fish will swim up that chum line and swim to the boat. So you can flatline and really catch a lot of pelagic species, whether that's a blackfin tuna, kingfish, mahi-mahi, cobia, sailfish. We see a lot of pelagic species come up the chum line and get in the flat lines. And we do some flatline fishing on the 12-hour extreme trip. It depends on the currents, the weather conditions. So you got to kind of talk to the captain and crew before doing any flatlining. But it does work, especially now, come August, where we have these lighter loads. Flatline fishing in June when the trip's sold out is tough because there's a lot of people on the boat and not a lot of room, and there's a lot of lines in the water. Come August, some of these 39-hour trips, especially the Sunday trips, especially the Tuesday trips, there's 20, 25, 30 people on the boat. You can flatline, you can slow pitch jig, you can do whatever you want. Tuesday's 12-hour extreme trips only got 8 people on it, only half full. So you could flatline, you could slow pitch jig, you got a lot of room, a lot of flexibility to do kind of what you want. So these lighter loads give you that opportunity for sure. When is amberjack season? It's supposed to be September and October, but like I've been saying for the last 6-8 months, they told us in January that last year the quota was exceeded by 250%. 250%. So I'm surprised we haven't seen an announcement already that it is not going to open September 1st as it's supposed to. Amberjack season is supposed to be September and October, but I'm assuming we're going to see no amberjack season at all. But we haven't heard any news, which is kind of strange. So I don't know. Definitely another question for the NOAA folks to write down, and maybe I can report back to you guys next week. Frank and Noah. He loves me. I email him every Monday, it seems like, after a live show, your questions. That's comical. All right, next question. Why is red snapper season so much shorter on the Atlantic side? The show is only an hour long, and I would need about 6 hours to really answer that question with any kind of real breadth. The Atlantic side is a totally different beast than the Gulf. The Gulf, back in the early 90s, like the year I was born, did moratoriums on charter permits. The Atlantic still doesn't have that in 2025. So the universe of anglers, remember, man, I don't even know how to answer this quickly. Remember, for fisheries science, you need there's two things: fisheries independent science, fisheries dependent science. Fisheries independent science is the scientists going out there and doing a bottom long line index, trawl survey, camera studies, all this fisheries independent stuff, which means it doesn't matter if fishermen are out there or not. It's just scientists doing scientist stuff. That's fisheries independent. Fisheries dependent science is the bread and butter. That's where the rubber meets the road. That's how they can tell what we're catching, and that's how they try to figure out what's going on. Fisheries dependent science is all dependent on fishermen. In the commercial side of things, it's really, really straightforward. There's no guessing. It's all census-based, means everybody's involved, and it's all mandatory. They know exactly how many boats are out there because they've been under a moratorium on their permits since like the 80s. They know exactly how many trips they're making because every boat has a real-time live tracker on them. They know exactly how many fish are caught because some of the boats have cameras on them that stream the footage to the fisheries service. Plus, they have to do a catch landings report. Plus, they have to sell the fish to a federally licensed dealer who also has to do a dealer certificate or a trip ticket. So the trip ticket matches up to what the fisherman said. So there's double level reporting of what's caught. They know what's caught and kept because of that. They know what's caught and released because of that trip reporting and a lot of that camera study impacts. And they know their catch per unit of effort because it's mandatorily reported through the VMS and through the trip tickets and logs. So fisheries dependent science is no mystery when it comes to commercial fishing. When it comes to our federal for-hire fleet in the Gulf, we've been under moratorium for a really long time. So they know exactly how many boats are out there. They have a pretty good idea of how many trips we've been making, because since the 80s, our headboat survey has been going on, and our headboats have to mandatorily report when we make trips, what we caught and kept, what we caught and released, how many people we had, how long we were fishing. So just like the commercial industry, they know all 5 of those things. The private recreational side, they don't know how many people are fishing. They don't know how many trips they're taking. They don't know what they're caught and keeping. They don't know what they're caught and releasing. And they don't know their catch per unit of effort. All of that stuff is essentially surveyed and estimated through these really complex algorithms, because none of that stuff is mandatory or reported, you know. On the Atlantic side, pretty much everything's guessed at, except for the commercial side of things, but there's not as many commercial anglers, so it's hard to know. So they don't have any real good baselines for virtually anything. And the charter permits, they're like $10. And they have some mandatory rules, but if you don't want to follow those rules, don't. The worst thing they can do is take your $10 permit, you turn around and go get another $10 permit. It's a joke. And they know it. And unfortunately, they're not doing anything about it. So the South Atlantic side is just so far behind. On our side, we have to report, right? We have these federal mandates, and if we don't report, you know how much that permit is on the Florida fishermen? Just in order to be able to operate a trip on the Florida fishermen, we have to have that federal permit. It's like $100,000. That piece of paper that says we're allowed to fish in the Gulf of Mexico's federal waters. If they threaten to take that because we don't follow a rule, that's a huge loss to us. So we obviously are incentivized to follow the rules. Whereas on the South Atlantic side, totally different ballgame. There's a lot more intricacies, but that is a very high level, very quick answer. And definitely I feel like not the best answer. I want to go deeper, but I don't want to lose anybody. I feel like I already lost some people. Why don't you do slow pitch jigging trips? We do. Our 12-hour extreme trips, 39-hour trips, 44-hour trips. A lot of people do slow pitch jigging on our trips. We used to offer a slow pitch jigging only trip, and we got away from it just because it wasn't as sought after as it once was, but we're going to bring it back. Capt and Joe and I are planning to announce those dates here in the next week or two, so stay tuned. We're going to have slow pitch jigging only trips, probably one a month, probably one October, one in November, and one in December. So stay tuned. We'll be posting dates for 12-hour extreme trips on the Flying Hub 2 that are jigging only. With the limits of mangrove snapper being 5, it's 10. 10 for mangrove snapper. State waters, mangrove snapper have to be 10 inches and you're only allowed 5 per person per day. Federal waters, mangrove snapper have to be 12 inches and you're allowed 10 per day. So, and the question was, can I keep fishing if I get my limit? Yes, you keep fishing, you just start fishing for other species, right? Just like on our 12-hour extreme trip, you're only allowed 2 red snappers. So you catch 2 red snapper, doesn't mean you stop fishing. It means you use different bait, smaller bait, bigger bait, and you try to catch something else. All right, what else we got? What rod and reel should I bring for flatlining? You got to be bringing some heavy tackle. Not some heavy tackle, some big tackle. Either a really big spinning reel with a lot of line in it, or a small conventional reel with some braided lines, so you have a lot of line capacity. Because if you hook a big fish like a 50, 60 pound wahoo, you need a lot of line in your reel so you don't get spooled. So if you're going to flatline, you need a really big spinning reel, or you need a conventional reel that's pretty decent sized with a lot of braid in it. So that way you can have a lot of backing if that fish takes off. But again, flatline fishing is a very advanced style of fishing. So if it's your first time, if you don't do it a lot, I would focus on bottom fishing. Then as you get better, more experience, talk to people on the boats, maybe venture into some of that flatline fishing. But it's definitely something that you would want to do as an experienced angler, or talk to the captain and crew about, and they can kind of help you. How have the sheep's head been around the docks? We don't catch sheep's head as often or at all really during the summer months, cooler months. Right now in the summer months, Around the docks, piers, bridges, jetties, rock piles, we see a lot of mangrove snapper. In the cooler months, we see a lot of sheep's head. They basically switch out. Around the rock piles and docks, it's all mangroves right now. Come November, it'll be almost all sheep's head and no mangrove snapper. There's still some sheep's head around, but not as many. Most of them go out into deeper water when it gets hot. We used to target gags within 25 miles, but now that isn't happening. What's a good species within 25 miles? I would be targeting some lane snapper and some red grouper at that 25-mile mark. 25, 30, 35 miles. Get a lot of lanes, a couple mangroves, and some red grouper. Is a 5K spinning reel sufficient for a 12-hour night trip? Yeah. I would bring a small 4-aught for some bigger live, dropping down a live bait for some bigger mangroves, but a 5K would work for most of what you're doing if you're using a small chunk of threadfin, a piece of squid, or a shrimp. Can you give someone else fish if you already have a limit? Yes. So how it works is once you lift the fish up, it is your fish. So most of the time what we're doing is if you limit out, you're going to be giving that fish away, any other fish you caught, or just releasing them. But if you, like, say you limit out and then you get a really nice fish, you can always give that to someone else on the boat who hasn't limited out. But what you can't do is if you reach your limit, you can't all of a sudden catch a bigger fish and then say, oh, I want to take that fish off my stringer or put this big one on it. That's not how it works. That's against federal law. It's called high grading. Shark Week. Ew. Shark Week, I can't even watch it anymore. It's just straight up propaganda, man.
So fake.
It's fake, it's hyperbolized, and it's also just like every 10 minutes they talk about how there's no sharks left in the oceans and people have killed all the sharks and we got to protect the sharks. It's crazy. I'm not going to go there. I'm going to stay on a positive side of things tonight. I caught an orange-colored fish on the 39-hour, and the fish cannot go in the cooler because its scales are razor sharp. Do you know the name of that fish? It's called a razorfish. But its government name, that's a pretty funny. Someone said, I can't find the government name. So we call them a razorfish, but they're known as a squirrelfish. Pretty wild-looking fish. So the razorfish is actually the government name, or the actual name is a squirrelfish, which is the common name of a sand perch. Fishing is funny like that. Do you offer veterans or military discount? We do offer an active duty military discount on our day trips. Our 12-hour extreme trips, 39-hour trips, our specialty trips are not discounted for anybody. Except for if you're in our regulars club and you go fishing a lot, which is on our website. Do you FWC these are always funny. FWC website says red snapper season ends July 31st. So again, FWC's website is state management talking about private recreational season. The private recreational season in Florida is June 1st through end of July. So June 1st through July 31st. Red snapper is closed in August for private recreational fishermen. Reopens the first 14 days of September, and then it's open weekends through the end of the year. That is for private anglers on their own private boats. If you're fishing with Hubbard's Marina, federally permitted for-hire vessel in federal waters, we follow the federal season June 1st through September 15th. You can catch red snapper in August. Seasons are different. So FWC's website is not going to be accurate for our red snapper season. And I jokingly said these are funny because most of those websites are all incorrect because fishing seasons and regulations change so frequently. Almost all of the information you find online is incorrect, or specifically talking about something else that maybe doesn't apply to you or is in a different part of the state. It's really, really tricky and really, really difficult. That's why I try to do these shows every week, to keep you guys up to date. What else we got? We can't have answered all the questions, Josh. Yeah. We're that good? Mm-hmm. Alrighty. Well, let's see. What? What do you look for to place pinfish traps? Multiple trap openings, grass, water movement? What do you look for to place pinfish traps? Man, Brian Harris, our bait guy, you should talk to him. But most of the time, what you'd be looking for is some sort of structure, right? So most people put their pinfish traps just off the coast. Hard bottom is what you're looking for. Hard bottom is going to hold the pinfish, or some grass if you're in shallow water. You can put traps in the back bay, but a lot of times in the back bay, in shallower, especially warmer months like this, you get a lot of catfish in your pinfish traps. So putting them a mile or two offshore, you're going to get some better quality baits for sure. Let's see. So some people are saying you didn't answer our questions. Remember, you got to text in your questions if you want your answer or your questions answered. We don't always see them if you don't text them in. You scroll up a little bit. What was the question? What's the best way to get grouper from a shoreline or dock? Honestly, it's a tough one because remember, grouper, red grouper, not really common from docks, piers, bridges, jetties. Most of the time, you got to go out in a boat and go offshore for red grouper. Scamp grouper, no shot, got to be offshore. Gag grouper is really the only grouper species that comes inshore, and you have a chance to catch them from docks, piers, bridges, jetties sometimes. But they come inshore in the extreme late fall when the cold fronts start. So generally, like October, November, the cold fronts start rolling, the gags come in. We get a lot of gags in shallow water, November, December, January, February, March, and then they start to leave April, May and go back offshore. Gags aren't open then. So it's really tricky to catch gags during the short open season. September 1st through 14th is the gag season this year. And the reason it's then during peak hurricane season, during peak heat, water temperature heat, is because the gags are further from shore, harder to catch. If they opened gags in December, we'd have like a one-day season. Because they're easier to catch. There's more catches that occur. There's more landings. The season gets shorter. The reason they chose September 1st as a start date for gags is it gave us the longest possible season. Obviously, we've had quota overages and paybacks. That's why our season is so short. Next year, the season should be 35, 40, 45 days, maybe even longer with this interim analysis that's coming. But tough to catch them from shorelines. I know some of those really good pier fishermen at the Skyway are going to catch some from the Skyway fishing pier, but I wouldn't even know how to begin to tell you how to catch them because those guys are fishing specific rocks and they're floating the pinfish out there 300 yards to these rock piles. It's pretty tricky. Let's see. Best to deep sea fish in October, November, or January and February? Either. Everything's the same, right? October, November, you're targeting red grouper, mangroves, triggerfish. January and February, triggerfish aren't open, but everything else is open that I just listed. We're targeting those red grouper, mangroves. So really not much difference, October, November versus January and February, because they're pretty much all the same because we have the same weather patterns. Starting October, November until like March, April, we get those cold fronts, and then we get those really nice periods between the cold fronts. And fishing is really good with the red grouper when we can get out there to them. Mangroves, hogfish start to get really good as well. Which species of fish do a toro fall under? I don't know, to be honest with you. I don't believe they're in the snapper species. They're snapper-ish, snapper adjacent. Yeah, you're not going to get that on Google, bud. Oh, well, prove me wrong. Google says a toro is not a snapper. I can't pronounce what family it's in. And plus, we're trusting the AI overview, which is always a little bit questionable at best. But it is not in the snapper family. All right. I think that's about all the time we had. There was a few more questions that came in. I didn't get to answer quite all of them, some of the new ones, so I'll do my best to catch up to any questions we missed. Appreciate you guys all tuning in and hanging out with us. We still got to give away our 39-hour trip for one lucky winner. Don't forget, Tuesday night, 7 p.m., we are going to be at OCC Roadhouse, and hopefully you are going to join us as well. Every fourth Tuesday of every month, 7 to 9 p.m. at OCC Roadhouse. And this Tuesday, we've got Capt Glenn Taylor. It's going to be a good time. We got Bull Bay rods to give away, Engel coolers, Real Animals, and Hubbard's Marina swag as well. So looking forward to seeing everybody Tuesday night, and hopefully we'll see you every Sunday night, 7:30 p.m. for our live stream show. Don't forget, if you're too busy to go fishing, you're just too darn busy. Supporters after show, Josh, what time? 8:55. You guessed it, guys. 8:55 for the supporters after show and our private supporters group. Remember, it's only $4.99 a month. If you want to join us, it's a lot of fun. We talk fishing a little bit more intimately. You get some more behind-the-scenes info and more. So hopefully we'll see you in our supporters group. Hopefully we'll see you next weekend. Hopefully we'll see you on the water. And don't forget, if you're too busy to go fishing, you can always stop by and see us at our Don's Dock Seafood Market and pick up your fresh seafood today. Or go fishing with us and catch your own. Or a little bit of both. Maybe you go fishing and catch some grouper and snapper. Maybe you stop by Don's Dock Seafood Market and pick up some scallops, some clams, some oysters, maybe some lobster, some of the stuff you can't catch while out in the boat with us. Nick Nieves did that the other day. He came out fishing, caught some red grouper, some snapper, then he went to the seafood market, got some scallops and some shrimp and some lobster. It's a good seafood meal right there. So we got it all at Hubbard's Marina, plus dolphin tours, island trips, shelling trips, and so much more. So stop on down. Come see us inside Fish Famous John's Pass at Hubbard's Marina. Appreciate y'all hanging out. Let's see who won that 39-hour trip for one lucky winner. 39-hour trip for one lucky winner goes to David Bruns. Congratulations, my friend. You got 5 minutes or less, David Bruns, to claim your free trip by texting us your full home address. We'll see you guys next week. Thanks for being a part of our Hubbard's Marina family, y'all. Thanks for tuning in and joining us.